Hi everyone. Today's Reddit story comes from the subreddit AITAH. It's about a woman asking if she is the a-hole in the situation regarding her child's birth certificate. Let's get into it. It's titled AITAH for being mad that my husband thinks I tricked him with our child's birth certificate. I want to give some backstory to explain where I am coming from and why this situation is so hurtful for me. My husband and I come from similar backgrounds. Our families were paycheck to paycheck, and not many went to college. We both have degrees and make significantly more than the rest of our respective families. When we got married, I was already a homeowner of a small house and had a car. My husband, however, had a lot of debt and his credit was trash. It wasn't his fault. He had significant student loans and had frequently had to help with his family members with money. He also has ADHD and had mishandled some bills. I was understanding of his situation, but I was also anxious to help him get debt-free so we can have kids without burdens over us. He was making $80K and I was making $100K. He moved in with me and we split expenses 50-50, except that he didn't have to pay any rent. I fully covered the mortgage and home insurance since he's not on the deed, and I also pay extra into his debt so he can pay it off early. His car loan is in my name and I also cover half of that. I do IT technical support, and I got the opportunity to take a job that required 50% travel but pay a lot more. We together decided that I'll do this job for a few years to significantly shore up our savings and pay off a good portion of the debt. I did this job for a little over 2 years till I got pregnant and took a lower paying job, $120K now, which doesn't require travel. The travel job paid more, but it was so hard on me. I was traveling to back ends of small towns where the big warehouse and data centers are located, and the job is physically demanding. Pulling cables, moving equipment, working in very cold conditions. I was miserable in this job and ended up with some back pains, but it was a sacrifice for our family. When I was 8 months pregnant, my husband asked for a paternity test. It came out of nowhere and I asked him if he didn't trust me, and he said he did, but because I did so much travel, he just needed some assurance for his peace of mind. He said his family and friends have asked him how he could be so sure of this pregnancy when I have been out of the home for so many nights. It really broke my heart that I did so much for this man and didn't even try to protect my assets or my money, and he treats me like this. I got very hormonal and cried about it, so he stopped pressuring me then. Now, our son is 3 months old and he's back at it again. He's put his foot down that I need to have the paternity test done, and he won't sign the birth certificate otherwise. I told him his name is already on because we are married, and I did the paperwork before they discharged us at the hospital. He didn't realize that would be the case and is furious at me thinking I tricked him. So here I am stuck married to a man who not only doesn't love me or trust me, but is an idiot. His family is calling me and pressuring me to let him do the test. My family is offended on my behalf, but some mutual friends are saying a test is not a big deal. But it's such a slap in the face after all I have done for him. Am I wrong for how I am feeling? Wow. My initial response to this was, this woman sacrificed so much for her husband. She got him pretty much out of debt, helped him financially, basically just helped him get his life in order. She did everything right before having kids. She let him move in. They split everything 50-50. She didn't do a post-nump or a prenup before they got married. And for the husband to turn around and go, oh, I want a paternity test. How can I be sure that this is really my child? And listening to his friends and families, questioning that. Come on, this is a issue that if you had doubt, husband, you should have just talked to your wife directly. Do not involve any other one into your relationship. Not your parents, not other family members, not your friends. Because when you are married, if you guys have issues, it should stay within that boundary because you and your wife are now a family of your own. Do not, and I mean do not ever involve other people in it because that just makes it super messy and personally, it's really none of anyone's business. Seriously. And the fact that this husband says he trusts the wife, but then the next sentence says, oh, but I want it for a peace of mind or whatever. Come on. That means you truly do not trust your wife. Your wife done so much for you and you show zero appreciation to your wife. What is up with that? That's just my little rant, but let's see what some of the commenters have to say about this. First commenter says, not the a-hole. How about you tell him you'll get the paternity test, but in exchange, you want him to sign a post-nump that protects your assets and finances so he's not entitled to half in an event of a divorce. I fear this isn't the end. He's only going to get worse. For example, he may get proof that he's the father, but he may not let go of the idea that you may have cheated while you were traveling, and he'll continue to basically accuse you. That's very true. OP responses, that's a really good idea. I am going to look into this more. Thank you. And then a follow-up commenter says, if he tries to bulk about it, you can even have a cheating clause in it, where he can get X amount per your lawyer. But otherwise, he takes what he bought into the marriage out of it. I agree with that. A follow-up comment to that was the cheater clause should go both ways. It's probable that he's the one who's been cheating and he's projecting. Ooh, that can also be true because again, the OP has been out of the home, was traveling a lot. Hey, the husband could be blaming the wife, saying, oh, you're cheating or doing all these other things, but in reality, he could be the one doing it. So, yeah, I agree with this commenter. It should go both ways for the cheating clause. It says, a follow-up commenter, which I find this next commenter's advice is pretty good. I agree with this one. It says, since OP works in tech, she might consider taking a dive into his device and online life. I doubt he's smart enough to cover his tracks. Yeah. He could be hiding something, and like the previous commenter said, maybe he's projecting his insecurity or his guilt. Luckily for us, there is an update from the OP. So let's get into the update. Updates. In my previous post here, I had asked about how to deal with my husband wanting a paternity test. We did the test and got the expected results. He wanted to get one that has legal validity, not a home test. It was a lot more expensive and he paid for it. We had to use the agency to swab samples and maintain a chain of custody. I was surprised and bothered that he had this plan, but he covered the high price and it'll be in my interest to have a clear, indisputable legal trail, so we went and did that. He's been over the moon happy since I agreed to this, and I resent his happiness. He got the STI panel done and that was clean too. He was surprised by my request, but didn't argue about it. He says it's just a test, no big deal. He was a lot more weirded out about a post-nump and flat out refused to cooperate there. That's suspicious. I gave up on that because I consulted a lawyer and I can't get much from that anyways. Whatever I have spent on him and his debt is gone and I can't expect anything back, and we are in a community property state. Darn. We argued a lot about separating finances with him, accusing me of trying to control him using money. He pointed out that we were a couple of years away from him become debt free, and if I leave it all on him, then it'll take him 5+ years. Okay, so what? He still does not understand how his showing a lack of trust in me is comparable. He kept arguing that he were the one with more money, he'll have to spend it on me, and for me to use this now makes me a bad partner. What? Okay. He came around and agreed to contributing more to bills after seeing how much my family has turned cold toward him. I am close to my family and they have loved him, but this has made them upset at him. My little sister was outright rude to him, which really got to him. He is the middle child and was frequently teased and bullied by his siblings. My sister was the only relative who loved him like an older brother and doted on him. My words and arguments didn't move him, but he got upset about her icing him out. So now he'll be paying for his own car and contributing to insurance and covering his debt by himself. Still no rent because he simply can't afford it. I wasn't going to ask him to stop supporting his parents, and after all, there's nothing in his bucket. I wasn't thinking divorce when I wrote this post, but I still don't want it. But I feel like I'm falling out of love with this man. Like the scales have fallen from my eyes, and all his faults that I had minimized before stand out glaringly. My mother is fully on my side, but she has advised me not to make any quick decisions. I don't know what I am going to do. He's trying to be helpful and a good partner, but it just feels like an act. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, good for OP for bringing up her doubt. Good for her being very calm and just going for it. She agreed to the paternity test. She agreed to the more legally used paternity test. And even though it's more expensive, at least the husband covered the cost. It's good that the OP brought up the post-nup, even though the husband didn't agree to it, which I find very suspicious. And, I'm glad that she was able to just let everything out to her husband. Even though the OP said that she's not considering divorce, I hope that she's keeping it in the back of her mind. Because this guy does not sound like a very good partner in my eyes. And like she said, she kind of feels like, the way he finding out that he's actually the biological father, that he was very happy. No, that's good and all, and that he's helping out more with the bills and taking care of his own financial stuff and everything. But she also mentioned that she's slowly falling out of love with this guy. And from the sound of things, it feels like the OP she's pretty much better off being on her own instead of being with such a bad partner, to be honest. Because in a marriage, you need to have a good partner, who actually supports you and not make false accusations or have doubt, basically, and doesn't take your partner's word. I mean, especially after the OP had done so much for the husband. This makes me so angry, but I'm glad that at least, the OP is being calm and rational about this whole thing. She's taking her mom's advice by not just making irrational and emotional, decisions. So I hope everything does work out for the better for the OP, and I really hope that the OP's husband is not really putting up an act and that he is genuine in his actions. Anyways, I would love to know what you guys think of the story and what would you have done in OP's position. Leave it in those comments, and if you like these type of stories, remember to continue to like and subscribe. I'll see you later.